Now, if you're watching this video, it's going to mean one of three things. So first of all, you're here for my amazing personality and YouTube content, in which case, thank you. Second of all, you might have just completed the Thor fusion, or third, you might have just pulled Thor in scenario 2 and 3. Congratulations, you just got yourself the best damage dealing fusion that we have ever had inside Raid Shadow Legends, and I don't think it's even close. The only other champions that you could really argue might do damage dealing a little bit better would be somebody like a Newt, but Newt is primarily going to be focused towards single target boss damage, so not really too much utilization outside of that. Certainly not, Arena. I would say most players aren't going to get a whole lot of use out of them somewhere like Hydra. In most cases, of course, there are certainly teams that can be used for Newt inside Hydra, and in the other fusion being, of course, Rotos. So Rotos, again, single target damage dealer, primarily used these days in the arena or, some niche City of Centranos or Doom Tower bosses. We're not seeing widespread use of him in, again, like Hydra or places like that. So that being said, Thor is definitely the best damage dealer that we've had introduced to the game in quite a significant time, in my opinion. Again, certainly from a fusion standpoint at least. Let's go ahead. Let's hop into his kit and see specifically what makes him so special. A1 attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 20% chance of repeating the attack. Each hit decreases the target's turn meter by 10%. So it's going to be a baseline decrease of 20%, 40% if he does repeat the attack. A2 attacks all enemies. After hitting the initially selected enemy, all other enemies will be hit in a random order. Each subsequent hit following the initial hit will increase the damage inflicted by 25%, stacks up to 100%, will ignore block damage and unkillable. This effect does not work against bosses. This is an absolute insane nuke of a skill. This is absolutely incredible. So in any sort of an area inside the game, generally you're going to be fighting about 4 enemies at a minimum. When you're progressing through wave content, it's almost always 5 enemies. When you're inside arena, it's almost always 4 enemies. So having the minimum of a 75% damage increase all the way up to 100% damage increase is absolutely insane. And not only that, but also being able to ignore block damage on unkillable is also incredible. In the arena, you're not going to have to worry about somebody like a Helicath or somebody like that putting up, those block damages. You can basically just ignore Swift Parry with this skill as well, which is absolutely insane. That being said, I don't think Thor is a champion that's very well suited for the arena. We'll go over his use case here in a little bit. A3 attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places the big version of increased attack and increased crit damage on this champion for 2 turns. Has a 75% chance of permanently decreasing the resistance of each enemy by 10%. Stacks up to 50%. Also has a 100% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. This is absolutely insane. Not only can this guy smack, but he's also bringing his own increased crit rate. He's bringing, increased attack and increased crit damage, so you can just absolutely blast some enemies. He's also decreasing their resistance, so the rest of your team is going to need less accuracy to do their job. And he's placing a decreased speed, which means that he can fulfill a lot of roles inside your team, especially somewhere like Hydra, for example, right? His passive, every time this champion deals damage, increases the thunder counter by 1, stacks up to 10. Each thunder counter increases this champion's damage by 3%. Stacks up to 30. Once the thunder counter reaches 10, attacks all enemies and places a stun debuff for 1 turn. After the attack, the thunder counter resets to 0. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw the multipliers on the screen here for you guys to check out. This guy does some absolute work, okay? With his A2, especially inside Hydra, Spider, wherever you might be using him, as A2 on those final hits, he's just going to absolutely slam into the enemies. I'll show you some clips here if I have them of Hydra inside my team where he was actually hitting for 1.5, 1.8 million against certain heads, which is just absolutely insane for an AoE damage dealer, right? So those numbers aren't exactly shocking if you're playing with somebody like a Trunda, who's just absolutely broken inside the game, right? And probably shouldn't be working the way she does, or a Yannicka, who's, again, probably broken, not supposed to be working that way. But for a regular AoE damage dealer to be doing these numbers, it is absolutely incredible. Not only that, he has an ally attack in all battles by 30%, which is absolutely insane. Everybody's going to get a up to 5-star awakening for this champion, absolutely free as well, as long as you do the extra events after the fusion. I managed to get myself all the way up to a 4-star awakening because that's where I really seen the impact for my account. At least I wasn't too worried about the resistance and the accuracy increases that you'd get from the 5-star. That being said, though, you know, you could definitely benefit from having the extra effects on there too, because you're starting to get into those High Awakening bonuses. The High Awakening is technically, you know, 6-star, but having the 5-star certainly comes with some upsides to it as well. How do we have him built? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We have 44,000 HP, 6,400 attack, 2,900 defense, 267 speed, 103 crit rate, 289 crit damage, almost 300% crit damage, 192 accuracy, and then of course 192 resistance, 215 accuracy. Let's go ahead. We're going to take a look into Hydra battles here. These are the stats that he was running inside my team. So 279 speed. This guy is speedy with a lot of attack and a lot of crit damage. I certainly don't expect most players to be able to attain a build like this. This is an absolutely insane build at the end of the day. That being said, though, no matter how you build this guy, he is absolutely going to do damage as long as you have the right stats. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. For the weapon here, we have kind of split rolls all over the place. He is certainly not optimized by any means, right? So for example, if this was a quad attack weapon or something like that, the build is just going to get so much better. Speed, attack, crit rate here on the helmet. We have a triple speed here, which is quite nice. Crit damage, which crit damage ascension gloves. I only have a 5-star chest plate on him too, which has an accuracy ascension, so this would be better obviously if it was attack, and it'd be far better if it was a 6-star chest plate as well. And then we have speed boots with speed ascension on him there. That's how we're getting so many crazy stats. We do have accuracy ascension on the banner as well, on an attack banner. We have crit damage with attack ascension. I didn't really justify, or wasn't able to justify myself to fully ascend that. And then we have an attack ring as well with a defense ascension there, which I'm certainly not gonna max out. I don't have good enough oil counts to be able to waste it on gear like that. For masteries, I did of course come down here to Helm Smasher. So Helm Smasher is definitely the way I would recommend going with him. And then I do actually recommend probably coming to Evil Eye and Lore of Steel. Lore of Steel is basically going to give you a boost from any sort of sets that are giving you like attack bonuses, HP bonuses from Stone Skin, anything like that, right? So accuracy bonuses will get increased a little bit there as well. Overall, these are very solid stats though, I would say. So having this champion built out like this, he's going to do incredible things. Let's go ahead and talk about his use case. So again, like I mentioned, he's probably not best used in the arena, though you certainly can. So let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of things he can do. We'll run him into our Wukong team here, except obviously instead of Wukong, we'll just go ahead and use him instead. Now, there are definitely some bonuses to this champion. So of course, bringing his own increased attack and crit damage is a huge upside for him, right? You don't have to run him with an Arbiter or something like that if you don't have her, or if you just don't want to. And then of course, you know, he has fairly decent base stats as well, so he can scale quite well. We are going against weak affinity on everybody. We're going to use his A2 here since he has increased attack already. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and target UDK. Now the reason for this, and part of what you want to think about when using his kit, is with his A2, you want to target the enemy that's going to take the least damage possible. So in Hydra, when they get resurrected, if there's the protections on them, target that head. In Hydra, if it's not decapitated, if it doesn't have decreased defense and weaken and all that sort of good stuff, target that head. And the reason you want that is because, of course, the targeted enemy is going to take the least amount of damage because they're the first one hit. Then you get that increasing damage afterwards. So, for example, if we hit UDK first, then we have increasing damage for whoever else we hit. Whereas, say, if we hit Nishak, sure, he might die. However, we're going to have the increasing damage for everyone else we hit, one of which is going to be UDK. And for example, if he's the last one hit, it would be quite a shame to have that 75% damage increase be on him. Let's go ahead and smack in here. Hopefully we get some strong hits against them. We take down Nishak with 171 damage, which is absolutely insane. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't cycle back around here. I didn't really pay attention if I got weak hits on the other champions or what happened there, and we did actually lose that increased attack as well. So for some reason it got sucked off there, which is not ideal, that's for sure. So this is without an increased attack on his A3. Boom, 151k and 121k there on the Pytheon as well. Now those champions weren't particularly tanky, so let's go ahead and see if we can outspeed a team like this. It is honestly going to be kind of questionable considering that they have a Armands in there. We are a little bit faster though, so we'll go ahead and see what we can make happen here. Let's try to strip everybody. We do get the cooldown increasing though, which is quite nice. So here, again, we're going to go ahead and target either Galathier or we're going to target White Queen first. I think we'll go ahead and target Galathier. Let's see what kind of damage he can do. Boom, 121k, and just absolutely sits down the White King Narcissus, and he absolutely sits down the Armand's as well. And not only that, but he took almost half the HP bar off that stone skin on the Ankora there as well. So you can see he is absolutely ridiculous. Now let's go ahead and run into some dungeons here for some damage testing as well. So we'll go into a Dragon Normal stage 20 here, of course. We're going to bring our Arbiter for the speed boost. We're going to bring our Lydia for decreased defense and weaken. And that should be pretty much all we need to go ahead and test his damage. We can, of course, see the increasing damage over time as well there if we brought somebody like a, oh, he's actually faster than my Lydia, which is insane as well. Let's go ahead and switch that out real quick here. Now, of course, part of the downside to having a champion, especially a nuker this damn fast, is meaning that, sometimes certain other champions aren't going to be able to keep up. So we actually had to switch over to my Uko here so that we could get the damage test done. Let's go ahead and let's hit in with the A1 first, just so we can see what kind of damage it does. Boom! Boom! We get 60k per hit, and then that's going to go ahead and repeat as well there. So we basically did 120k on the 3 hits that we laid into them. Let's go ahead and back out, and then we're going to try his A2 next. So let's go ahead, get that increase attack, decrease defense on them, hopefully the block buffs as well. Let's go ahead and slow it down here. Let's target this guy, and then let's look at the damage across the board. Boom! Just wipes it out. We see 381 to 341k coming in there against them. Let's go ahead and actually just keep up the damage test here, although we won't have decreased defense, so we'll actually back out. We'll do this one more time just to show you the A3 as well. This guy absolutely smacks. Now keep in mind, he has no built-in decrease or ignore defense in his kit or anything like that, which is absolutely insane. So he's just straight up doing hardcore multiplier based damage. Let's go ahead and do that A3. Boom! We almost clear the wave. We do about 103k to them here. So the A3, I've noticed, definitely does not hit as hard, which is unfortunate. The multiplier just isn't quite as good with it, I don't think, and then additionally you're also not getting that increased damage scaling either, which can be a bit unfortunate. However, keep in mind that after a certain amount of hits he does to the enemy team, he is going to go ahead and do that massive AoE slam as well. So we had the tournament recently where you had to beat the spider with only barbarian champions. Now you could essentially just duo it like this, right? So Armand's is going to drop their turn meter. I'll show you how Thor works in this particular team as well. This is an absolutely insane combination. So essentially what will happen here, and this is very important, so Armand's can come in, he can steal their turn meter, right? He's going to get an extra turn essentially, which means that we're going to get some extra spiderlings spawned in. Now Thor's counter, if you recall, goes up to 10 in total. Now, so if you hit the 10 enemies, you're basically guaranteeing yourself that you're going to get that extra hit, right? So he doesn't have any increased attack or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and slam. If he doesn't take them out on the first hit, he should then also get his secondary passive to activate. And that passive should essentially just go ahead and attack again and then stun anybody who might still be alive. So we can see there, we get the AoE, then we get Sky Rupture, the passive. He goes again, wipes out every single one of those spiderlings, which is insane. Now, you might be thinking, well, he didn't do much damage to the spider. How is this useful? Well, if you're progressing inside the game and you're trying to get, through Spider 20, for example, right? Having a champion that just can absolutely nuke the hell out of the spiderlings and keep them in the ground or stun them on that passive, right, if he doesn't kill them, is going to help you so much. That's going to open up options for you to use single target max HP damage dealers like, Cold Heart, or, Newt, or champions like that to target the main spider, whereas you'd usually have to worry about, especially with a Cold Heart, right, her being kind of squishy, right? So you generally either have to control those spiders or just absolutely blast the spider before they even get a turn. However, obviously, if you don't have the gear to do that, this can help you prolong the fight a little bit more and increase your win rate at the end of the day. I'm going to go ahead and throw up on screen here now a screenshot of the damage that he did, over 200 million damage inside my Hydra clan boss. I don't have the exact numbers here in front of me just because I have the screenshot on my phone. Let me go ahead and pull it up here so I can talk specifics. So we did 421 million damage in total. Varl, who is known to be a very decent damage dealer for Hydra, did 109 million, whereas Thor himself did 211, which is just absolutely obscene. This guy is so damn good, and of course, if you're struggling with the Barbarian faction crypts as well, he's going to help to carry you through that piece of content. He could, of course, be used inside the Doom Tower, City of Centranos, basically anywhere you just need an absolute nuke of a damage dealer. This guy is going to be incredible for that particular situation. That being said, We do also have a Freya event happening soon. We do, of course, have Odin introduced into the game as well. And we do also have Loki, who I did a video on not too long ago. Make sure to check that out if you have the champion and you're wondering how to build him. These champions combined are some of the strongest champions that we've had introduced to Raid Shadow Legends in 2024 so far. 2024 has been absolutely insane. We started off the year with our Mons, and it just kind of got crazier from there, right? So it's been a good year so far. Let me know down below how you guys have your Thor built and where you use him inside the game. I'll be very interested to hear about it. As always, I'll see you in the next video.